time intensive stuff.
Call the meeting to order, let the record show that everybody's here except for Chris and Myron. We'll start with pledge of allegiance. For my allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Chris will not be here. Okay. All right. Anybody have any additions to the agenda for this evening? I have not. All right. Motion to approve the agenda.
So we'll
Second.
favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Regular minutes of May 19th are in your packet.
Questions?
I would move to approve as good.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Perfect. Claims are longer because we did not meet at the beginning of June, and so you have a sheet from the end of May, basically from our last meeting on the 19th to the end of May, and then that's the first and second sheet, and then the third sheet is everything since then.
So additional.
Yes. A note on the big one to Miller Sellner, that is our airport tractor MnDOT grant, and we have already been reimbursed for that actually. That money came through last week, so we got 104,700 back. So
There's no questions. Do we have a motion to approve? So moved.
Second.
The second, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say.
awesome. Under pending, under electric utility, Blake and I are set to go up this Friday, the 20th, at 11 o'clock in Minneapolis. We're meeting, assuming at the Frederickson and Byron building again. So this would be the second follow-up meeting after our new information from Mr. Mark Fritsch was presented to Excel and their representatives at the beginning of June. And so hopefully there's some substantive discussion happening on the 20th.
So this is a joint meeting with Excel.
Yes, it is. Yep.
Mhm.
Any questions on that process? PUC wise, we have what they call a pre-settlement conference with the legal teams of both parties next week on the 25th. After speaking with our counsel, I don't need to be there. Neither does Blake. It's more of a how long do we want for discovery period? How long are motions? How long are testimony period going to be, and such things. So he had a proposed schedule that he drew up, Mr. Strawman, and that deferred to his expertise on the matter. Of course, never been through it before, so it's going to be a long process stretching into 2026. So if we do not get a settlement.
But an outside chance at this meeting this week that there may be some movement and potentially, I mean, they may not want, they may decide this is the time to get serious about a more realistic
Certainly.
resolution. That would be good.
It would for both parties.
Mm-hmm.
Natural gas utility, I will call this development a speed bump, not a roadblock, but a speed bump. The attorneys for Northwest Natural Gas found a provision in statute that if you are a public utility within the state of Minnesota, which they are, not public in the sense of a municipality or a co-op, but just public in the sense that they are somewhat regulated by the PUC, not with their rate structure or anything, but certifying cold weather rule and stuff like that, making sure they're below that 5,000 customer count. For public utilities in the state of Minnesota, if there is any merger, sale, any sort of transaction at all that is valued over $1 million, the PUC has to ratify it. And so they will be filing a petition as soon as possible with their legal team to get in front of the PUC and have them bless that. They are not expecting any hiccups there. The PUC has heard and seen from Northwest Natural Gas a lot in the last 5-ish years or so because they had this question of are they going to be regulated or are they not? Are they above or below that 5,000? So because of that, back in 2020, late 2021 and stretching into 2022, they had to file tons and tons of documentation with the PUC to basically prove that they are below the 5,000 and should not be subject to regulation by them. But they still qualify for the small natural gas utility exemption as defined by statute. So it was determined that they did, and so the PUC is not, it won't be a huge surprise to see Northwest Natural Gas there. They're familiar with the company and there shouldn't be a whole lot of priming to do there. So expecting good things.
That's just a pro forma thing with them, and nobody's expecting that they're gonna go, oh, no, wait, we can't do that.
So that's what our legal team and their legal team are thinking is going to happen now. They are political body, so you never know 100% that it's not going to be or it is going to be just a rubber stamp. But the thoughts of both teams who have gone through things like this believe that it's going to be pretty easy. That is all I have under pending, and so new business.
Well, the only question, I guess, obviously the no bonding bill got passed for any of these local projects.
Oh, yes, I did have some. So there is a state bonding bill of $700 million. So what they did is they hardly did any local projects. So there's like 2 or 3 in there because of previously committed money and their funding scenarios changed or costs went up or down drastically. So they tweaked those a little bit. But the vast majority of the 700 million went into already existing grant programs for infrastructure like BDPI and PFA, which is Public Facilities Authority, and LRIP, Local Road Improvement Program. So those are good programs. They're extremely competitive, but no local pet projects. And so I was in contact with co-chair, I guess this year would be on the GOP side, Mary Franzen, before that weekend of last minute special session negotiation. Then, of course, the special session happened on Monday. But leading into that weekend on Friday, she said, yeah, no 34th Street, no child care bill. We're not doing it. Nobody's getting any pet projects. So, sorry, but try again. And encourage us to apply for LRIP for 34th Street, which we have previously, but not for a few years. So probably be doing that. And we had also applied for the congressionally designated funding process federally through Representative Fishbach's office and Senator Smith and Senator Klobuchar. And Senator Smith's office called Jason Walker early last week and said that the child care center appropriation made it kind of past the first cut. And so the next step would be that appropriation goes to the full Ag Committee in the Senate. And if it makes it past that, then it's a staff person's words were a 95% or greater chance that the project would get funded. So I have never gone through that process before. We're kind of learning as we go, and neither has Jason. And so positive movement, and then we made it kind of past the first go around here, and we'll be trying to reach out to her staff to kind of figure out what that Ag Committee process looks like. Should we be doing any lobbying to individual members of that committee? and so forth to try to increase our chances there. So, as I'm sure you're all aware, the federal government is even more of a fickle beast than the state legislature right now. So, anybody's guess on how that could turn out in this session or next. New business. We have two firefighters that have completed training and been running for us for a while. And so Chief Laton's recommendation would be for the council to remove Mr. Brokel and Allers from probationary status for the fire.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Number 4, we have a resignation. This resignation is due to Mr. Swanson moving out of the community effective 6/9, and so we'll just be looking for a motion to accept that letter of resignation. Thanks for his service on the department.
So,
Second.
and you have a letter, I assume did you get the letter?
I did.
Okay.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
All right. Next up, we'll hear from DSI on possibly applying for the fiscal year 2026 Small Cities Development Program.
This is the DSI team. Thanks for inviting me tonight. My name is Jessica Foley. I'm the Director of Community Development for DSI. I primarily work with the SCDP program. It should be multiple.
Which one do you want? This one?
That one.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry.
They have it all.
So I just want to recap because the city of Slayton currently does have a grant and it is closing the end of September. So I kind of wanted to give a recap on what we see as we finalize that grant. We received 28 owner-occupied applications, and 19 of them will be rehabilitated, and we will have met goal on the owner-occupied. When the grant was written, the goal was 19. For the single-family rental applications, we received 11, and we were able to rehab 4 single-family rentals, sorry. And then for the commercial, we received 4 applications and were able to rehab 3 of the commercial properties. So on the owner occupied and the single family rental, we did meet goal. With the commercial, the goal was 4. The city had 3 that have completed, but I do want to say that when the grant was written, it was written for each commercial business to receive $30,000. With the grant, each commercial business can receive up to $40,000. So the commercial businesses that did receive went to the max amount. So there was a little bit of funding left over that we were able to roll over into owner occupied, and so that we were able to help that last owner occupied rehab. So with that being said, as you know, SCDP program has federal objectives to benefit low to moderate income individuals and eliminate slum and blight conditions. In areas that we can do this as owner-occupied, rental housing rehab, or commercial rehab. There are other areas such as public facilities, streetscape, and community centers or facilities. It is my knowledge tonight that the city's probably looking at owner-occupied or commercial again. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that kind of where we want to lead? Okay. Just to recap, what can be rehabbed for owner-occupied and commercial would be shingling, siding, roofing, windows, electricals, plumbing and heating for the owner-occupied. For commercial, it is exterior or health and safety issues that can be rehabbed for that commercial purpose. Non-typical ineligible projects are new construction or remodeling. So if you're only doing something to remodel, that is not allowed for the program. One thing has changed from the previous grant for the owner occupied, and that is how the tiers have to be set up. The individuals for owner occupied need to meet an income limit set by HUD. That's low to moderate income. If they are under 50% AMI, that would qualify them under the first tier, which is 100% deferred over a 10-year period, decreasing 10% each year. If the owner would move or no longer own that property, they would have to repay the remainder, depending where they are. So if they've been in the house for 5 years, they would pay the remainder 5 years back on the sale of their house. If they fall under the 51 to 80% AMI, this is where it's changed. The last grant was 70-30. The state has recommended that we go 80-20. So 80% would be deferred over a 10-year period following the same rules as that 100%. And then the 20% would be repayable to the city at a 2% interest rate over a 10-year period. The minimum amount of payments would be $50 a month. So, and then below is just kind of how that would look for a $20,000 project. As far as commercial, they are set up as a 60-20-20. So it's 60% deferred over a 5-year period. And if the business no longer operates as a business, whatever is not deferred is then paid back to the city. And then the 20% is a repayable loan at 2% interest rate, just as the owner occupied would be, over a 10-year period. And then 20% is an owner's match up front at the time of contract signing. So with that being said, do you have any questions about the programs in itself?
So the deferred portion is the stuff that's coming back to the city, right?
No, the repayable is what comes back to the city.
If someone moves or dies or whatever,
Yes.
then that money goes to the city or goes
Yes.
up?
No, it goes to the city. Yep. Any other questions? Okay, I did include, I'm not sure. Yeah. The 2026 grant timeline. So right now we are in the interest statement phase where if the city would like to move forward with the 2026 application, we would ask that we be able to do interest statements, send them out to the communities in the areas that you want to see if there's interest. The city of Slayton is under 5,000, so it would be citywide. We would send out the interest statement citywide. And then once we have gathered all that information in August or September, I or another team member would come back and report what we found to the council. And at that time, then the council would decide if they wanted to move forward with the prelim application. They are normally due November. It will be November 2025. And then the final application will go in April of 2026. And then you wouldn't find out if you received funding until September of 2026. And then that starts the work as far as an environmental and all that work. So realistically, if the city is granted funding, your applications would not be sent out until 2027. But it's kind of a lengthy process. The next would be the application service agreement. It is set up in 3 stages. The first, as I mentioned, is that community interest piece. And then the second step would be the prelim application and then the building condition assessment. And then third would be that full application. You can use local funds that the city has to pay for the application. And I guess at this point, if there's any questions, I can answer them.
So you said there was on the owner occupied, there was 28 applications originally,
Yep.
and there were 19 of them.
Yes. And I
But
actually,
what was the? I guess my question is how serious or I mean it should be pretty easy if the remainder of those would be eligible or not or.
so I did look that up. And so the 9 files that were closed for various reasons, 4 were over income, 1 was a mobile home, which is ineligible. And then 2 did not complete their applications, and then 2 withdrew from the program. And I don't know the reasons why they withdrew, but that is the breakdown as to why those.
Just happened to be fulfilled.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fund balance wise, referring to a comment on, we can use local, program, or local funding. We have about $15,000 left after this round. We had about 35 in there, and we kind of shifted some of that to jumpstart this current active round. And so I would say I would recommend that we go for this again. And I think there's a strong need as stated, and hopefully generate some more interest in the survey phase. And we have the money to pay for it without taking it out of the general fund.
So I don't remember how did we set those goals for the different categories or set those?
They're based on the interest.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's what I was thinking.
Yep.
And then how often have we been doing this program as far as period of time? I mean, obviously we just finished up with work on it. I mean, I know this process takes a while.
It's been a really long time.
Yeah, so the last really active one, I think, was 2011, 2012. It was right before, kind of as I got here, because we were still getting commercial income coming in, taking those loan payments. And so we were included in the county's application for like Avoca, Hadley, Iona, because they didn't get enough interest. So on the back end, we were able to get, and I don't even know if anybody took advantage of that. That was probably 2017, 20, somewhere around there, but truly active application, well utilized, 2011.
Okay.
But I do think once you kind of get this kick started in the first round, I think typically the next round goes easier.
People can see in the community what work's been done, and so they are interested usually. The hardest part is getting them to fill out that interest statement and get it back. But we found that if we send it out with the city's envelopes, that helps. And we have also done a QR code as well, and that has helped as well for those individuals who want to do it electronically. So we've gotten good results from that as well.
Yeah, because I think it was like 2003, 2004 era, approximately. I did my rental house with us. That's how I got siding and windows and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
At that point in time, that was I don't, it still works that way, but that was a duplex.
Okay.
So then I actually qualified for basically double the amount of what the single was, or.
So duplexes are still 25,000 because they're 12,500 each is how it's set up now. I don't know how it was set up then.
Yeah, if I want to say it was just a one occupancy occupancy rental house?
25.
25,000. Yeah, back then it was whatever the single house was. I mean, it was based on it was double the amount back then, which was, I mean, it was obviously a bigger house and it was needed because I still ended up, just curious.
So,
I'll make a motion, we go ahead and.
There's a motion, any other discussion?
I'll second.
Second. Motion first, second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Have a good evening. I think all of you know me, but if you don't, my name's Brianna Solheim. Amber Humphrey's with me. We both work at the hospital and we're both on the foundation at the hospital as well. And what we're coming tonight for is more for the foundation side of things. And we've been trying to come up with some more ideas to help support health and wellness within the community. That makes everything a little bit more accessible for everybody. And one of the things we came down to was this outdoor fitness equipment. None of this is fully set in stone. So you'll see within the presentation once we get a little farther that there's ideas. I also brought the book they sent me that has more ideas. We wanted to kind of gauge interest on what your guys' thoughts are as a city as well. The thing with these outdoor fitness equipment is it's supposed to help improve health, wellness, accessibility within the community. The one thing we like with this is it's free for everybody to use. So instead of having a gym where you have to pay a membership for or have a work that lets you in there, this is everybody can use it and it's year round. I did write down a couple of the benefits because I don't think the presentation fully goes into that, but the physical health obviously is the big one, but then you also are going to look at it's free of charge, accessibility for everybody. It also gets people outside more and in the sunlight a little more, and then also that social integration as well. We, from our research as well as what they've told us, that they do say that kids typically play longer if their parents are playing, aside from sitting on their phones. They do say the standard is the kids will be out and about moving a lot more as well. And then there's also that community attraction when you're trying to gauge people to come move to your community. This is going to help the viewpoint for those coming to our area. We can flip through some of this a little bit. I don't remember. So they have equipment that's based for every range of people. I don't think the ones in the presentation fully hit that specialized side of things. The specialized could be a consideration as well because that is better for your elderly population, which we obviously have a quite high elderly population in our community. Right now, most of everything in here is going to be in that everybody category. So you can go to the next. So this is roughly what we had discussed as an idea we came up with the company. Some of the pre-bundles they made are much larger, which I can show you, but the ones they pre-build are typically for about 20 to 30 people to be able to use at a time. That's like Sioux Falls has one, for example. We are much smaller than that. We don't need quite that big of a space. So this is roughly the idea we came up with. This one will show it has a free runner, which is similar to an elliptical, a bike, an arm bike, and then the second one in is actually a pull-up bar / a leg lift station, and then an agility course. This is roughly an idea of what we came up with. They also came up with 2 more solutions that are in this presentation as well. The nice thing with this free runner is it's low impact, so all ages can use it, which once again is hitting that elderly population and helping them with their balance a little bit. This is a cost breakdown. So all of this I'm going to say is they've told us not all of this is 100% set in stone. The equipment itself is $23,000, which isn't terrible. Install, they did give me a price on that, but we can decide if the city installs it, we hire a construction crew to install it. That cost will vary based on, but that is their cost to install it. The turf or the install is, so right now that's priced at regular turf, but later in the presentation, there's a breakdown on, they recommend turf
pour in or what was the other one? Concrete
Yeah, concrete.
or mulch is an option as well. I was just telling Amber before I got here, I saw some videos earlier today of some other places that have this installed. And some of the videos actually show it being installed on grass, which would be amazing if that's, so I will have to clarify that one because that would help reduce a lot of cost and would be easier for the city to maintain as well. This is the second solution that they felt would be better fitting for our community. Not quite as much stuff in it. With all of this too, so all of these are going to have signs for people to know how to use it. They also say all of this equipment is 13 and older technically. There's no pinch points or anything that anybody would get hurt on if children do get on it. Because at the end of the day, nobody's going to sit here and keep it, survey it all day long. Which I think is a good thing too, that there's nothing that will hurt any of the kids. We can flip through. There's one more. So this isn't too much more expensive. They did say solution 2 and 3, I think weren't set in stone pricing, if I remember correctly. They weren't. It's just a rough guess, they said. This was the last solution that they said comboed kind of the first two ideas. And once again, so with this, we wanted to get everybody's interest to see if it's even something you guys are interested in. If it is, and you want to go bigger, not out of the question. If you want to go smaller, not out of the question either. These are just some ideas that we thought would maybe be better for our size community. And that I think that's the third option, the pricing on it. And with the pricing, so roughly what our plan would be if we went forward with this is the foundation would take care of the raising of the funds. We would do all the fundraising options. At the end of the day, what falls back on the city would be obviously location, the land for it, and then the maintenance going forward and possibly install that side of things.
Do they know what maintenance costs are on this kind of equipment?
It's not bad. So actually they said the only maintenance that you really have to worry about is they recommend a pressure wash once a year. That's it. I mean, I'm assuming if you stick to mulch, you're going to have to replace the mulch every so often or that type of, if you put concrete and it cracks, you'd probably have to fix that as well. And the warranty on some of this is all dependent on each piece of material on the, so I don't know. They say it's a lifetime, should last for a long time, but this is roughly what that surfacing is. So they have different options. They do say certain pieces of their equipment have to have a fall risk. So then you would need safety surfacing underneath of it if there's a fall risk. I think all of the ones we put on there, they're wasn't, if I remember correctly.
For these options. Okay.
So I think they priced it at the regular synthetic turf pricing for an idea. Some of this, roughly the ones in here, they put at 900-ish square feet size-wise. Once again, I'm sure that gives or take based on what material for surfacing you put down, because each one depends on how far out they go. So that would fall back to if the city's interested in it, you would have to help us decide which park. They do want to come and do a site visit before you fully, if we decide to move forward with it, they would come and do a site visit. Amber and I have discussed in the past, it would be, we kind of are leaning towards either Bicentennial or Roop as probably better options. Bicentennial doesn't have as much extra land on it, but it is one of your busier parks. Roop is nice because there's all that extra space out by the tennis court and the volleyball court, which I feel is already pretty much targeted more towards your adult population, which is nice in that aspect. You could do Gullard. We've just discussed that. Like, I don't have kids, so would I feel comfortable going into the middle of a park to use outdoor fitness equipment if there's children running around? Or everything's just a lot more space out there. Some of these options they do say is nice if you can line it like on the edge of a park, because if you're a parent, you can use it while watching your children play.
Sure.
For safety reasons.
Sure.
That's about all I wrote down. So we would, if you guys were good with moving forward with it, we would also discuss with you if you want to go through with one of these options, if you want to see other options, what all of that entails, and then we would work with the company for them to come out and move forward.
So just to recap, the ask at this point is well, the ask specifically for tonight is, are you interested, city council, in us kind of doing more legwork as the foundation to pursue this project? And then moving forward, the true ask would be, can we have a piece of land and would you help us install and do maintenance? But at this point, you're not proposing any local match in terms of the funding scenario, or right? You said you would handle all the.
We would handle all the fundraising side of things. Yep.
Seems like a win-win to me.
Yeah.
It'd be great to, add on to our parks, whatever amenities we can provide, that this is something we don't have, and I think it sounds great.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of opportunity for the foundation to leverage other nonprofits and maybe some grant programs too that maybe we would not be able to. I
Yeah.
think
And we haven't looked into that too much. It was more we were worried if we started raising all the funds for this, and then you guys were like, "You're crazy. You don't want that." And now we were stuck with all that money,
it sounds like it'd be crazy if we said no.
But yes, we can look forward with more grant stuff too.
Yeah, and even just like with, we can certainly even scale it back to having only like 2 pieces of equipment, kind of whatever everybody kind of agrees on. I mean, it's a pretty large area with like that many, but yeah, they're pretty flexible with.
Yeah. And this, I didn't say either, but this company also installs these around the world. So like Denmark has them, Norway. My brother-in-law just told me when they were in Germany, there was one a block away from their house. So it's exposed to all the weather elements. And actually, I've seen videos and pictures of people using it in the middle of winter. So I think that's really nice. I don't know if people would or not, but it is a nice option to know that it's a good year round, even to maintain it, that it's not going to get bad over the winters. And I can always, they sent me this, I can always leave this other book too if you guys want to see more options. If you think we need something different than those 3 options that we provided.
If they're gonna come down and evaluate, right, they'll come here and do a site visit.
Yeah, they had asked us to do a follow-up meeting. We were just waiting until after this to go forward with that.
If they're gonna do the visit, they'd know better than us.
Yeah, I think we would, as far as,
And we want it to be able to be used. So you'd hate to have too little and then it's busy all the time and there's no extra. But you'd also hate to do too big and then nobody ever's on it.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay.
I can just see you right now, Dean, on that gazelle looking thing.
Yeah. You can see me right laying on the ground underneath it too.
That could safety service.
39.4 inches, you really don't need it. So.
Right.
Do you guys, if I talk to them about coming down for a site visit, do you have a preference on or a location?
I would say take them all around because they're here now.
I would say that I think makes the most sense. It seems like
I would
it's the most open area.
I think Bicentennial is going to be pretty tight.
Yeah.
Unless you put it away from ball fields, kind of in between the pool and the rest of the plate, but then you're not getting that. I can use this while watching children type of aspect, which I understand.
And it could go, I mean, there's places that do put it away from playgrounds. I don't remember if there was a distance with this one. Some do require you to be a certain amount of feet, but I don't think this company had that. You have to have a barrier of some sort, technically, but their benches qualify as that barrier. So that, or they say fencing, shrubs, landscaping. They just, if legally they say you have to have some sort of barrier that marks it, separates it from a kid's playground.
And is that barrier part of the school setup then that they do, or part of the package?
Yeah, so the benches are priced. I think there's only 2. They priced it at 2. So I don't know, depending on how big you go, if you would need more than that or not. But they did price 2 and all of that, as well as signage. They priced that in there as well because all of it would have to have signage. And they put somewhere you can. They do some of them based on what equipment you do, where they can scan a QR code so you can see how to use it if you're unsure. The people we talked to on the one presentation, he was a PT athletic trainer. I don't remember, but he said down where he lives, all of the athletic trainers go and do all of their personal training there often. So
Wow.
it gets used if people are willing to try it.
Do you have a question?
Do we need a motion for this, or is this?
No, I think head nodding from all three members is probably good enough. Just going to move forward with the site survey and
Okay.
yeah.
And you said this, is there other companies that do, or is this the company that?
So we had researched another company that Worthington has that one. It's by the college. It's that National Fitness Court. So I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's like
By the college.
right.
Yeah,
I've never seen it,
just
but
adjacent to, like, you're coming up to the college and it's to the right there. It's just a huge blue court of activities. It's quite large.
yes,
Um,
it's a little bit more spendy. We can do a couple of these for the same price that one is. Because right now our hope would be to maybe put one of these in Slayton, one in Lake Wilson, one in Fulda, so we can hit the county.
Cool.
And that one is a little bit more abstract, so you have to be a bit more creative to know how to use it. It's not where you are gonna see a bike and know that you can bike on it.
Yeah.
And that one got upwards 300,000, I think, for based on what you do. So that's why we went more. We feel this is a little bit more inclusive and easier for all levels of fitness to be able to use. Oh, yeah,
That's great.
I would
Thanks
say
for.
Yeah,
certainly.
okay.
So far.
We'll do a little more touch base once we are farther ahead
Yeah.
then.
Awesome.
The foundation or the company want any sort of formal action by the council at this point, or
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I think we're
I
good.
didn't want you to leave here.
No. They just
No,
told us
yeah.
the rest of the foundation just asked that we gauge your guys' interest because there was no point in moving forward if nobody was interested in it.
And are you doing the
So-
same thing with Lake Wilson and Fulda?
We've reached out. They haven't responded as of this point, so we'll go forward if they're interested. Otherwise, you guys will be the ones. So
Awesome.
Thank you.
okay, thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
All right. Number 7, we have the liquor license for the Murray County Fair for this year. You can see a 1 to 4 day temporary on sale liquor license is what the title calls, but there's a provision in statute that allows ag societies for their county fair to apply for a 7-day permit. So that's the notation on the top right of the application, and so the motion would be to use this for the 7 days of the fair week.
So moved.
Can I vote on this?
I think you can. I don't see, this is no different than me voting on something with the fire department that has no personal financial interest, Josh.
I would agree with that.
So go for it. And
I'll second it.
any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes.
Thank you. Second temporary liquor license for the evening is for Murray County Early Childhood Initiative. Last year, we attempted to have the first ever 21 plus pool party at Slaytona Beach, and the weather did not cooperate, and so we're going to give her a whirl in July this year on the 26th on a Saturday, and so would ask for approval for that, please.
So moved.
Second.
First and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, motion passed.
Final item, I believe, yes, number 9, Jackie processes all of the meal reimbursement and receipts and all that for us, and has noticed that due to the wonderful inflation of our country, that some of our staff is having trouble getting below, specifically for lunch and dinner, that $20 and $30, and we're not going to Outback Steakhouse and buying ribeyes or anything like that. So recommendation at this point would be keep $15 for breakfast and increase $5 from 15 to 20 for lunch, an increase of $5 from 25 to $30 for dinner, and just those dollar amounts. No other provisions need to be changed.
I'll make the motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Just adjourn.
If no further business, is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion first and second, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion adjourned, or, motion, meeting adjourned, 6:45.
So, thank you.